Hi everyone, I'm back and I'm excited to be here today with a discussion video about goddess energy. And so today I wanted to really focus on the Golden One, who has inspired the Golden Goddess Alchemy channel and who has been a huge part of my journey in awakening and understanding goddess energy and how to utilize it for positive healing, manifestation, and neutralizing a lot of negative thoughts and toxic energies and relationships that need to be released and let go in order for you to find true joy, pleasure, and happiness in your day-to-day life. And so the goddess that has been huge and really pushing me to even do videos in the first place is the goddess Hathor. And I came to know her without really understanding who she was. When I would have my days when I was, dealing with very heavy and very painful menstrual cycles. And they were almost absent, but when they would come, they would really just knock me off my feet in terms of just my physical energy, my emotional balance, as well as my mental focus. And so as I was trying to heal myself and really dive deeper into, my fertility issues and deal with some past pain and trauma that I never really addressed from my childhood and even adulthood, I would start to see visions of representations of her that I didn't know what they were. But luckily, I was afforded the time to start researching this and journaling it, and then I realized that she had been trying to wake me up all along. And I'll probably dive deeper into that another time, but one of the main things that I would see in representation to her was the cow head and also balancing scales, and also the Eye of Ra. So these are all things that if you've seen them before in ancient Egyptian books or in any type of art or sculptures, you know that this is a representation of Hathor. She is one of the most renowned and one of the oldest ancient Egyptian goddesses that had a really long influence over the people. She predates Isis, and oftentimes her and Isis are their images are kind of mixed up. You'll see her represented in statues and sculptures with a cow head, and she can also be shown with cow horns or like a red disc above her head, which is a beautiful representation of the sun god Ra. And so she is known to be the daughter of Ra, and she has basically the entirety of what you understand to be femininity. That is what she represents. She is known as the Mother Goddess. She is also the Lady of Malachite, which is a beautiful, precious gemstone that is a gorgeous green color. In fact, I have a piece of it here. It's gorgeous, and it's one of my favorite stones that I've come to grow really, really close to recently. And she's huge in terms of when it comes to understanding our motherly nature, our motherhood, our fertility aspects, as well as our abilities to have much abundance and joy and happiness in our lives as feminine beings. Now, also it's important to know that Hathor is, very much about sovereigns, sensuality, and sexuality too. And these things are suppressed often by religion, but they're heavily important to the basis of femininity, creation, and an ability to be fertile. Suppressing this is not okay. So Malachite, which she's associated with, is a beautiful healing stone for transformation. It is also used to ease issues with reproductive systems and to help with labor pains. It is also known to be a stone that resonates with women in leadership positions or who have affinity towards music and dance or anything like that expresses the body or any of that type of energy. I find myself reaching for this stone more and more. It is just so beautiful, and the colors are just so vibrant. And also, with a lot of the talk of electromagnetic radiation being revved up in the atmosphere this year due to 5G and all kinds of influx in heat and sun exposure, this stone can also be really good for helping to transmute those energies and to absorb negative energies out of your auric field. So it's a really great stone to get if you're into gemstones. And I would really like to do a video later to really talk about gemstones a little differently and a lot more deeper as to what I believe that they should be used for and what they actually are about in another video. So if that's something that interests you, definitely let me know in the comments. One of the things that I also really love about Hathor is that she really, like I said, represents the entirety of femininity, especially when we think about beauty, when we think about cosmetics. These things are representations of the divine self, the higher self. There's a reason why women are renowned as being beautiful creatures. It is important for us because we represent divinity when we align ourselves to this energy, and beauty is the manifestation of that in physical form. It is a connection to our higher self. And so when we think of kings and queens and goddesses, we think of them and we see them in their most beautiful physical presence, you know, wearing crowns, wearing jewels, associating themselves with beautiful jewels and colors and light, and you know, surrounding themselves with beautiful representations. Like I said, is a representation of the beauty of this universe, of the cosmos. That's why it's cosmetics. And so she definitely embodies that. And like I said before, she is also associated with transformation and balance. And so she's integral in the basis of women being in a space of needing healing and transformation in their lives. And a lot of us are there when it comes to understanding our cycles and understanding our hormones. And so when she shows up, it's usually during a time when you are in your moon phase, and she's represented through this bleeding out that we have, which is basically a physical representation of us needing to heal and release, because the last 28 days you encountered a lot of people, a lot of energy, a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions that need processing. And as a woman, when you're bleeding, you are in need of a pause to process. And so your menstrual cycle affords you, or should afford you, the opportunity to be in a space of recuperation, of healing, of sleeping, and, you know, connecting with your dreams. So you're probably more tired. You should be sleeping more and having divine dreams, having really amazing recollections, and also at times going through some really emotional processing of things that you suppressed and that you really need to let go, to forgive, and to also transfer and transmute that energy into something beautiful, whether it's a creative hobby or a new project after, you know, you get your energy restored, or even healing a relationship or past wounds. That's what Hathor brings, especially during our menstrual cycles. She tells us to stop and be present, and to understand that everything will be okay because you are divine, you are feminine, you are fruitful and fertile, and you need to claim it, and you need to stay in a moment of receiving at that time. So like I said, Hathor reminds us to be very committed to our present moment through healing, through honoring our feminine forms of release. And when you are releasing, it means that your moon is full and you are in sync with the earthly tides that are affected by the moon cycles as a woman, as a feminine being on this earth. And so Hathor, she comes along in her presence of your emotions that are up and down because, like I said, you're going with the ebb and flow of the earth being affected by the moon tides. Your own internal moon tides are affected, and therefore Hathor is requiring you to process this, to pause, and to be present, and to be mindful, and to protect yourself, and also to allow others to give to you. Be receptive in receiving help. A lot of women are so independent that they don't want to ask for help. They don't need anything, No, during this time, you need lots of love. You need lots of hugs. You need lots of time, even sometimes alone, to be introspective. And you need to say that, and you need to express that in a way that's balanced, but that is very aligned with your feminine or your yin energy that is really, really potent at this time. So during this time, you will likely be more intuitive, and you will likely have a lot of emotional processing to go through, and that is okay. That is what this time is for. Hathor also reminds us that we are to be sovereign in our sexuality, and to know that we are also the wheel of life, which means that we bring the milk, the sustenance, for a life form to be able to be fruitful. And so she is also represented by the Milky Way. And, this also leads me to further explain that she, wears this crown that is a sun disk, but also very elegantly displayed as horns, which represents the Taurus energy. So the Taurus energy, if you know anything about zodiac or astrology, the Taurus energy is very much about material manifestation. So she is telling us through her energy representation that we as earth beings need material sustenance. We need milk, we need pleasure, we need joy, we need things that bring us this so that we can have a balance between, who we say we are and who we actually are. So it's not enough just to be spiritual if you can't also be connected to spirit and get what you need in the material, so that you don't have these imbalances, this area of lack, of poverty, of desolate, a nature being desolate and being in survival mode instead of a thriving mode. So when Hathor represented herself to me, these were things that came once I started to uncover who she was, what energy she brought to the ancient Egyptians, and what her mystery schools taught at that time. And so much of it resonated with me deep, and I just felt like this was an important goddess for a lot of women to recognize and to uncover her story, to maybe even shed some light on a lot of the truths that we have within us that sometimes don't, or a lot of times don't, align with this ass backwards world that we live in, where we're told that it is really inconvenient for us to be feminine, to be women, to be fertile, to be in our divine self. In studying Hathor, I also went on a deep dive to really uncover the representation of the horns, or the cow horns, or the antlers that are represented with her being. And it just came very, strong to me that those images reflect the fertility aspects of life. And if you know anything about the Fibonacci sequence, I may do a video about that later, but the Fibonacci sequence is represented through the shapes in the formation of horns. And this divine sacred geometry is found in nature, and it is a perfect sacred geometry that reflects transformation and creation. So you will see a representation of this sequence with antlers or horns, as well as the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, which she is also represented through, and also through the representation of the rebirth, the creative energy, the spiraling inward, and the transformation of spiraling inward and then outward, which is also represented when you think of a baby, a fetus that is born in the fetal position. It is a spiral. It is an inward, rounded growth where you're growing in and then you're flowing out. And these are the cycles that we go through month to month in our moons, as well as, seasonally. These are just macro and micro representations of the same energies. So this goes very deep, and she embodies the entirety of feminine aspects and harmonious balance when it comes to material and spiritual. That it is important for us to understand that you deserve to have material creation in your life, as well as a spiritual connection. There is a divine balance between the two. It makes absolutely no sense for you to be highly spiritual and have no fruitfulness, manifestation ability. And she lets me know that, there's some things I need to let go of in order to do that. And so a lot of times, in order to do that, it means, really cleansing and releasing these things that we've held inside that we haven't addressed or expressed. And a lot of times for me, it comes in the form of a creative pursuit, because that's just my type of processing ability. Then it helps me so that I can have more than one way to cleanse and to neutralize any energies that I've come into contact with that I find that holds me back or that doesn't serve me well. And so it's no wonder that she's associated with balance and harmony through music, through dance, through any kind of physical form of expression that really makes the body look and feel beautiful. So that could mean also adopting a yoga practice, or starting a dance class, or doing anything that makes you feel super feminine, and also that makes you develop a really positive relationship with your physical form. And we have to understand that beauty is about, and beauty in your body is a really sacred and important aspect of femininity, because you are in this vehicle, this chosen suit. And so it's really important that you have a very positive relationship with these aspects, because these are tools that are available to you. So it is important to, with meditation and with drawing yourself a really beautiful bath or working out or whatever, that you're not just doing these things mindlessly. or for some ridiculous result, or to, meet some sort of societal standard. No, this is about you birthing a new experience for your body, for your mind, and really grounding yourself and having your body, mind, and your spirit be in a place of, harmony and balance. And I keep saying that because that is literally the basis of mastery, is when you can find that really great in-between state where you're not going hard in the paint in one area and then the other area is suffering. These are all very important areas that you must find a really great centering for in order for you to be really, really fruitful in your life, and fruitful in every aspect, not just money, but in joy and happiness and comfort and access, and just having many options available to you, so that you're not always overutilizing your adrenals and having fight or flight and emotional outbursts and pushing people away and fighting everyone. These are signs of imbalances. And so when you can get back in your body and claim your space and understand who you are in these ways, then you can do a whole lot more. Hathor is also known as a patron to minors. And so, like, with her connection with Malachite, you can see that she is very much about this transformation that I'm speaking of, but also in the support of minors. So when I look at this, it's deeper for me. It's not just about minors in a physical sense of going down and digging for diamonds. It's also about mining yourself, mining your business. So going and doing the deep dive work in your transformation to find the gems within you, find the light, the beauty within you. And when you start to dedicate yourself and commit yourself to this type of journey, and you work with Hathor, she starts to show you how important it is to value your gifts and to stop giving more than you have been receiving. And this was a very hard one for me, and how she showed up for me is she showed me balancing scales, and she told me that in a lot of relationships I had been doing the most and receiving the least, and that I wasn't even asked to do all the things that I was doing. There was something in me that had a beauty of wanting to service and heal and help others, but I wasn't doing enough of that for myself. And so I was overcompensating in some of my friendships and in my family relationships of something that I desired within myself that I wasn't getting. And so she told me to remove the weight. She said it just like that. Remove the weight, balance the scales, and get yourself aligned, because that is the only way that you can make room and do the work that you need to do in order to regain and claim your fertility. This is deeper than just putting on a dress and saying, I'm a goddess. This is about a mindset. This is about spirit connection. And, like I said, I can go on and on, but I really just wanted to really pinpoint this particular goddess energy because, a lot of times these stories of mythical goddesses and ancient Egyptian goddesses are just so people run with the superficial. And we forget that this is not religion. This is not about worshiping anyone. This is about understanding the energy and what this feminine aspect embodies and how it is represented in nature. These are aspects that allow you to understand why you feel the way that you feel, why you need what you need, and helping you to find the balance of that. Like I said, our culture has been erased, And we've been given religion so long that we don't know how to study. We don't know how to analyze and view symbolism and decode the energy, or decode the stories, the mythical stories, into energy that we can utilize alchemically, spiritually, for ourselves. And so when I came upon understanding Hathor, it just really opened a can of worms, really beautiful worms, in my journey of understanding goddess energy and how it can really heal and enlighten. And so I hope that this video made you really inspired to do your own research on her, or to even, have a conversation about this with your friends. And if it resonated with you, please hit the like button or send me a note. I want to do more, so this just lets me know that someone's listening and watching. So thank you.